Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Manachari Yamunatira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Giri Varadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Giri Varadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadari Jaya Giri Varadari Vallabha Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Manachari Yamunatira Manachari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Nam, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Brahmam Sapiva Jakacharya Astu The ruler of this dome is divine grace. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj is the founder, Acharya, Jagadguru, Patita Pavana, Srila Prabhupada Jai. Mantakoti Vaishnav Vindaki Jai. Grantaraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam Ki Jai. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yagna Ki Jai. Brihat Mridanga Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda New York Yatra Dham Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Haribol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Guranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tojayam Udirayat Nastapareshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Śrimad Bhāgavatam, 3rd Canto, 23rd chapter, entitled Devahuti's Lamentation, text number 7. Ye me sva dharma niratasya tapa samadhi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadha tan eva te mad anusevanaya varudan dristim prapasya pitarami abayan ashokan. Let me think. Ye me svadharma niratasya tapasamadhi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadha tan eva te mad anusevanaya varudan dristim prapasya vitarami abhayana shokan. Ye me svadharma niratasya tapasamadhi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadha tan eva te mad anusevanaya varudhan dristim prapasya vitarami abhayana shokan. Ye me svadharma niratasya tapasamadhi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadha tan eva te mad anusevanaya varudhan dristim prapasya vitarami abhayana shokan. Hare Krishna. Yea, those which may by me svadharma, own religious life, niratasya, fully equipped with tapa and austerity, samadhi and meditation, vidya and Krishna consciousness, atma yoga by fixing the mind, vijita achieved, bhagavat prasada, the blessings of the Lord, tan them, Iva, even, te, by you, mat, to me, anusevanaya, by devoted service, avarudan, obtained, dristim, transcendental vision, prapasya, just see, vitarami, I am giving, abhayan, which are free from fear, ashokan, which are free from lamentation. Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord by discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. Please say together, Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Devahuti engaged only in the service of Kardama Muni. She was not supposed to be so advanced in austerity, ecstasy, meditation, and Krishna consciousness, but imperceptibly she was sharing her husband's achievements, which she could neither see nor experience. Automatically, she achieved these graces of the Lord. What are the graces of the Lord? It is stated here that the graces of the Lord are abhaya, free from fearfulness. In the material world, if someone accumulates $1 million, he's always full of fear because he's always thinking, what if the money is lost? But the benediction of the Lord, Bhagavat Prasad, is never to be lost. It is simply to be enjoyed. There is no question of loss. One simply gains and enjoys gaining. Bhagavad Gita also confirms this. When one achieves the grace of the Lord, the result is that sarva dukkani, all distresses are destroyed. When situated in the transcendental position, one is freed from the two kinds of material diseases, hankering and lamentation. This is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita. after devotional life begins, we can achieve the full result of love of Godhead. Love of Krishna is the highest benediction, is the highest perfection of Bhagavat Prasad, or divine mercy. This transcendental achievement is so greatly valuable that no material happiness can compare to it. Prabodhananda Saraswati said that if one achieves the grace of Lord Chaitanya, he becomes so great that he does not care a fig, even for the demigods. He thinks of monism as hellish, and for him, the perfection of controlling the senses is as easy as anything. Heavenly pleasures become to him no more than stories. Actually, there is no comparison between material happiness and transcendental happiness. By the grace of Kardama Muni, Devahuti experienced actual realization simply by serving. We get a similar example in the life of Narada Muni. In the previous life, Narada was a maid-servant's son, but his mother was engaged in the service of great devotees. He got the opportunity to serve the devotees, and simply by eating the remnants of their foodstuff and carrying out their orders, he became so elevated that in his next life he became the great personality, Narada. For spiritual achievement, the easiest path is to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and to serve him with heart and soul. That is the secret of success. As stated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his 8 stanzas of prayer to the spiritual master, Yasya Prasadad Bhagavat Prasad. By serving or receiving the grace of the spiritual master, one receives the grace of the Supreme Lord. By serving her devotee husband, Kardama Muni, Devahuti shared in his achievements. Similarly, a sincere disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master automatically. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Slapitam Dena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapura Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagujatam Sagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvedam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surito Pangor Mamamanda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Dibyadindiranya Kalpajumada Śrimad Ratnagara Singhasana Sto Śrimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalabi Savyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Risarambi Bamsi Bhattatatastitaha Karshan Venu Svanar Gopir Gopinatha Shriyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyeva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ye me svadharma niratasya tapasamadi vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadha tan evate mad anuse vana ya varudhan justim prapasya pitarami abhayan ashokan. Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. So, this verse 7, 8, and the verse 9, which is details Devahuti's reaction to these words of Kardama Muni, are very significant, important, and also beautiful, because Srila Prabhupada gives us an insight into the glorious relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple, and from his own personal experience of his relationship with his own glorious spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who he was so deeply impressed with from the very first sight. Kardama Muni is saying that I will give you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are, the achievements that I have achieved, freedom from fear and lamentation. Prabhupada says, gives a nice list of what are the accomplishments of the actual pure devotee: advanced in austerity, ecstasy, meditation in Krishna consciousness, meditation or Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, in the midst of the purport, directs our attention to the very exalted Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati Pad, who in his Chaitanya Chandramrita, I believe this is verse 5, Prabhupada gives a reference that if one achieves the grace of Lord Chaitanya, he becomes so great that he does not care a fig even for the demigods. He thinks of monism as hellish. That was the case with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was understood as detailed by Kavi Karnapur in the Gauragonadesh Deepika to be the incarnation in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes of Brihaspati, the chief priest of the demigods in the heavenly planets, that he gave up his long-held monistic beliefs and, more than just giving them up, condemned himself for having such nonsensical ideas as in comparison to the glory of devotional service, which was given to him revealed to him by Lord Chaitanya, and even more, Lord Chaitanya revealed to Prabodhananda Saraswati that he is directly Krishna himself. So much so that he took license to do what no sane person should ever think to do, to change even one word of the Śrimad Bhāgavatam from Mukti Pade Sadayabhak to Bhakti Pade Sadayabhak. Lord Chaitanya gently but firmly told him there's no need to change this verse. Krishna, at whose lotus feet all types of liberation reside. Hence, he is called Muktipad. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, well, when I hear the word mukti, I become fearful, and I don't like the feelings. But when we hear the word bhakti, then we would once become very pacified and happy. Lord Chaitanya didn't give him permission by that expression to change, but he embraced him very firmly, understanding his heart. That's a lesson that Shastra is infallible and should never be changed. Monism is hellish, and for him the perfection of controlling the senses is as easy as anything. If one is directly engaged in Krishna's service, cent%, then all the actions of one's senses, body, mind, words, intellect, emotions, are completely perfect and just to the right point. Actually, there is no comparison between material happiness and transcendental happiness. Actually, material happiness is suffering. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, the so-called feeling of happiness is the greatest enemy of the sense enjoyer in the Bhagavad Gita. And there is a reference in the Ramananda Sambad, talks between Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy, the difference between, well, in particular, lust and prema, love of Godhead. There's no comparison, but a comparison is given between gold and iron. They're both metals, but there's a vast difference. If we were to give you 10 pounds of gold or 10 pounds of iron, figure out what is the difference in value. 1 ounce of gold is worth something like $1,800 or $2,000 right now. So how many ounces in a pound and how many, you can figure it out. No comparison. So when Srila Prabhupada met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was urged by his friend Narendranath Malik, who understood amongst all the other friends in the group that Srila Prabhupada was the leader, and they wanted his opinion on any subject matter, important subject matter, was taken very, very seriously by his friends. So Narendranath Malik had met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and was deeply impressed. And Srila Prabhupada, we know the story, was reluctant at first. He had seen many quote-unquote sadhus brought to his home by his father out of his goodwill and generosity and piety, not just for performing a householder's duty or Vedic duty, but particularly and personally and especially, he wanted the blessings of all sadhus that his son could grow up to be a great devotee of Radharani. That was also his mother, Rajani's idea as well. But, they were, many of them or most of them were disappointing for the standard reasons in Kali Yuga. And Prabhupada wasn't interested in meeting any other sadhus. He was in college, university, he was a follower of Mahatma Gandhi, which pretty much was the people's cause to get free from British rule. That was seen in those days as the cause of God. This was actually a godly thing to do. The most important thing to do, everything else was secondary, everything else had to wait. So immediately, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur not only stressed the superiority and supremacy of Lord Chaitanya's movement of spreading love of Godhead, but also immediately pretty much invited/ordered Srila Prabhupada to take up this mission and not just preach it locally in Calcutta, but all over the world. And Prabhupada put up an argument. Who will hear your message of Lord Chaitanya? We're a dependent nation. We must get free from British rule. And very quickly and perfectly, systematically, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta dismantled the argument and established the supremacy of Lord Chaitanya, Krishna consciousness, and devotional service as the immediate need for everyone in all times, places, and circumstances, and especially in the troubled political climate of India in the 1920s. And Srila Prabhupada was deeply impressed. We could say that certainly their meeting was predestined, and their relationship is eternal. But Prabhupada even would say of himself, what did I know? I was just a boy at the time. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta immediately gave our Srila Prabhupada the vision to understand, just as he was understanding. What did you think? He was asked by Narendranath Malik just after. He's wonderful. The message of Lord Chaitanya is in the hands of a very expert devotee. I accepted him as my spiritual master immediately, not officially, but within my heart. Imperceptibly, she was sharing her husband's achievements, which he could neither see nor experience automatically. She achieved the grace of the Lord. We'll see in the next verse, Prabhupada describes that, later in the renunciation of Kardama Muni chapter, where he is ordered to go out and be a sannyasi and travel all over the world. And particularly Prabhupada writes in the purports there, to award fearlessness to the common man is the greatest act of charity. Because everyone is fearful in this material world. Shyamasundar was presenting to Srila Prabhupada different philosophers and writers and thinkers and scientists of all lot. I believe it was Carl Jung who described what the source of anxiety was. I forget exactly what he said, but Prabhupada said the source of anxiety is fearfulness of death. Everyone is afraid of death in this material world because death is imposed upon everyone without exception. So the only way to get free of death is to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. So one who reveals the path of devotional service, how to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is awarding the greatest gift, the greatest act of charity. Love of Krishna is the highest perfection of Bhagavad Prasad, or divine mercy. And in verse number 8, very, very beautiful verse in purport, Prabhupada says, the love of Godhead is not an ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he is distributing love of Godhead, Krishna Prema, to everyone. So we should always remain firmly fixed in mind and heart, understanding just what the heck it is that we are doing in this Krishna consciousness movement. This is not an ordinary thing. This is the supreme activity that one can perform, not just here in this world, but in the entire cosmic manifestation. Even it's described that Krishna's devotees, perfect Nityasiddha devotees in Goloka Vrindavan, they want to come with Krishna when he appears as Lord Chaitanya to distribute love of Godhead to the people of this world. There's a very nice verse in the beginning of Adi Lila chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features, describing how the Lord distributes love of Godhead to the people of this world with his most confidential devotees. Only with them does he distribute love of Godhead to the people, and only with them does he taste this love of Godhead. And our acharyas have described that the mellow taste of was even expanded more than what was available in their direct relationship, vice versa, Krishna to his devotees and the devotees to Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So it's been explained to us and revealed to us that the highest possible perfection is to have a simultaneous relationship with Lord Chaitanya and Krishna. And even it's described how the perfect devotees, the acharyas, they have two perfected forms in Chaitanya Lila and Krishna Lila. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Svat Niyama, 12 verses of self-imposed regulative principles, which was his last writing, right, in 1907, before he completely entered, not samadhi, leaving the planet, but he was just absorbed in chanting, said that Lord Chaitanya, when a devotee becomes advanced, then the worship of Lord Chaitanya becomes imperceptibly interwoven into the texture of his Krishna worship. And of course we know, especially in this Kali Yuga, there's no access to Krishna without going through the mercy and the process delineated by Lord Chaitanya, which has been so nicely preserved and carefully guarded carefully and given to us by Lord Chaitanya's followers, his disciplic succession. Because he, Lord Chaitanya, was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness, is the highest gift which can be bestowed on anyone whom we presume to love. So putting into practice that every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, just the commodity that we are duty-bound as postal peons to deliver is so great that even our mind, our intelligence, our senses, our immaturity, or whatever is not up to par simply by having at least enough rudimentary common sense to understand the greatness of the gift of Krishna consciousness and the importance of the act of even trying to distribute it will make one completely perfect. There's the reference that Srila Prabhupada would like to remark or bring to our attention, that even the simplest or lowest ranking brahmachari in the Gaudiya Math, if he was able to struggle all day to distribute 2 or 3 of the Math magazine, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would be so pleased with him and would compliment him with a great smile and maybe a hug. Oh, you were so nice that you have done this. And in relation to service to the spiritual master, as Cardinal Muni is so pleased, and we try to please our beloved Srila Prabhupada, then he will want to give us the greatest thing that he has in his possession. Isn't it natural psychology? That if you really, really want to please someone, they're willing to just practically give the greatest thing of value that they have to you. And that is the glory of disciplic succession. The spiritual master, he wants his disciples to inherit and take up the mission fully equipped and fully in full possession of everything that he himself has had. They very carefully chose audio excerpts of Srila Prabhupada speaking to put in the right places in the movie, Yadu and Vishaka Prabhu's movie, Hare Krishna, the mantra, the movement, and the Swami who brought it all. So Srila Prabhupada in one place is saying that you beautiful boys and girls, the message of Lord Chaitanya is now in your hands. What if the money is lost? Always an anxiety. But the benediction of Bhagavat Prasad is never to be lost. It is simply to be enjoyed. There is no question of loss. One simply gains and enjoys gaining. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnat Mittas Vardhanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijayate, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. Gain parallel to increase in transcendental vision, transcendental ecstasy, etc., parallel to increasing the number of devotees or those who can be given the bhakti lata bij, svalpamapi asya dharmasya. The result of material activity, good and bad, pious and impious, is temporary. But the result of even the slightest amount of devotional service is eternal and guarantees, necessitates more opportunity for devotional service. So the more that people get a chance to come in contact with all elements, udipan, stimulations, to ultimately achieve love of Godhead. And Prabhupada gave us three main things: prasadam, books, which also includes media. Yadubar is describing in a interview which was published by Siddhanta in Prabhupada Memories that Prabhupada gave $16,000, which was a lot of money and unprecedented, from his personal book fund to make the first Hare Krishna movie, the Hare Krishna People, which was premiered in Mayapur Festival in 1974, nearly 50 years ago. So Prabhupada understood the value of media, especially in these days in this day and age. What to speak of now, 50 years later? How many times when we try to distribute books do people say, "I don't read," or "I don't know how to read," and they're even proud of it? You know, like that's cool to not know how to read. Or they say, "I'll watch it when it comes on YouTube." They'll say. Prasadam and the holy name. Music, philosophy, and food. Prabhupada writes one place in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, no one will refuse to take part in a function where singing, dancing, and refreshment are administered, and everyone will feel the attendant pleasure. The result is sarva yukani, all distresses are destroyed. His Holiness Satsvarup Maharaj was very fortunate to be one of the very first persons to meet Srila Prabhupada in the summer of 1966. And he was, at the time, a very deep thinker, a writer. He had studied and was very well aware of so much world literature. So he had been reading Vincent van Gogh's letters to his brother Theo. And Vincent van Gogh, of course, he had committed suicide at the age of 37. He had come to the conclusion that misery is eternal. So in one of the first personal exchanges that Satsvarup Maharaj had with Srila Prabhupada, he said, is misery eternal? Can one become free from misery and anxiety? And Prabhupada said yes, but clarified it. In the spirit, in the material world, misery is eternal. It cannot be stopped. It goes on life after life, repeated birth, death, disease, and old age, the four main principles of misery. But if one comes to Krishna consciousness, misery is finished forever. And he's very brand new, just came in the door, maybe been around for like several weeks, and Prabhupada's presence and his faith and his conviction, this is a realization of Prabhupada's disciples. Prabhupada wasn't searching for words or maybe, or could be, or possibly. This is the way it is. And his complete situation in perfect Krishna consciousness was just so heavy and so powerful and so all-encompassing that your faith, or whatever you believed or didn't believe, or whatever you were thinking, was just, you were drowned by Prabhupada's oceanic potency, and he lifted you up to his, I am giving you although you are not advanced in these things, I am giving you the vision to see how nice they are. Another time, Satsvarup Maharaj asked, because he'd been around for a little bit, maybe a few weeks, and he came to understand that one has to come to a platform and follow the regular principles and not fall down. This is before initiation, bad habits like smoking marijuana, other things. So he asked Prabhupada very simply, is there a stage in spiritual life that one can achieve when one will not fall down? And Prabhupada's simple one-word, three-letter answer was enough to convince Satsvarup Maharaj to dedicate his life and take initiation and follow the regular principles. And that one word was, from Srila Prabhupada, yes. Although you have not yet achieved these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I'm giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. And it must be done with love and reciprocation. Another item from Satsvarup Maharaj's coming to Krishna consciousness and his relationship with Srila Prabhupada was he was doing something for Prabhupada which he was very well equipped to do as a literary person. He was typing Srila Prabhupada's Bhāgavatam. And so he missed the first initiation, and he was kind of holding back. Unless I'm invited, unless I'm personally asked, I'm not going to attend the initiation. There was morning classes, which he knew were happening, but nobody invited him. And then Prabhupada, by and by, invited him to come. Also, there was a a big gala festival, the wedding of Mukunda and Janaki, and I'm inviting you to come. He had sent someone, he saw Sasru Maharaj sitting on the curb outside the storefront, and he sent somebody out to bring him in, and Prabhupada said, we're having a marriage, I'm personally inviting you. So he missed the first initiation, but he pretty much stayed up all night, and he brought a big bundle of typing, and he delivered them, and Prabhupada said, oh, you weren't here for the initiation. He said, no, but I typed. So I did all this, and he gave it to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said to him that if you love me, then I will love you. And then just broke down his reluctance and understood that, love is a two-way street, and there has to be reciprocation. It's not that just we sit and expect the spiritual master or the pure devotee to just shower love and we don't reciprocate. This is meant for those who want to advance, actual disciples. Not considering who is fit or who is unfit, proper time, proper place. That is Lord Chaitanya's munificence, and all the followers of Lord Chaitanya, they follow in that regard. But to make actual advancement, there has to be some reciprocation. Most poignantly was Jagai and Madai, completely under the influence of sinful desires and lust, greed, anger, etc., but they came to realize who was Lord Nityananda, who was Lord Chaitanya, and they surrendered. And they were engaged after that in very, very humble and very, very exemplary and praiseworthy service. By the grace of Kardama Muni, Devahuti experienced actual realization simply by serving. We should not think of ourselves as great devotees. We should simply aspire to become instrumental in the hands and the predecessor acharyas. Then we can actually do something for suffering humanity. We're not meant to surpass the spiritual master, become more intelligent than the spiritual master, think we know better than the spiritual master, try to correct the spiritual master. We simply want to be instruments in his hands. Srila Prabhupada would say of himself, I'm not a great scholar, nothing extraordinary, but I had cent percent in the words of my spiritual master. That is my qualification. Oh Lord, you have brought me here to dance. Make me dance, make me dance, make me dance as you, by your will, as you like. You have designated me as Bhaktivedanta. Now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. Signed, the most fallen, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, 18th September, 1965, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts. A sincere disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously. Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. Any questions or comments? I have a comment. So we see in Prabhupada's direct presence during his time, people were lifted so high, and perhaps we could, reasonably say that beyond our own earned capacity. And in Prabhupada's absence, now 45 years, it's been revealed that we are really, we have to, there's mercy and it's descending, but we have to actually be on an earned platform ourselves. So there's kind of a, what do they say in common language, beginner's luck, or what's a better term, like you get a, beginner's grace or something. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes in Madhurya Kadambini that the neophyte thinks that he's mastered everything and he becomes puffed up. Yeah, Utsahamai. So, we should be careful not to overestimate or to mistake the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master, to share with us and show us the goal ahead, or that which he is situated on, and think, oh, I'm on that platform also. If one imitates the Paramahamsa platform, then one invites all types of misfortune upon oneself, and it creates a disturbance in the proper administration of human society, that administration being based upon elevating people properly and systematically to higher stages of spiritual qualification. Okay, your comment?
I was reminded of a verse from CC. I thought it was in chapter 4. I couldn't find it.
Which Adi, Madhya? Not anymore.
Where it's speaking about how Srimati Radharani is like a tree, and the other gopis are like leaves on that tree, and they experience the same thing that she's experiencing.
Is that chapter 8, Madhya Lila?
It could be chapter 8, Madhya Lila. Yeah, it could be that. I thought it was chapter 4, Adi, but it wasn't. But
I think that's chapter 8. Anyway, yeah.
I was just reminded of that because he was saying that basically because of her service, then he bestowed on her the same things that he was experiencing.
Right.
So I just noted that. I thought it was nice.
Srila Prabhupada would say that by this service, my spiritual master will bestow all his mercy upon you. And Prabhupada described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita concluding words that this Krishna consciousness movement has been formed to execute the desire of Om Vishnupad, Shri Śrimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada.
And then one more thing you just mentioned, we should be careful not to think that we can imitate the platform of a Paramahamsa.
Yeah.
And I heard one sadhu speak that, the difference between, I think I asked another devotee this question in Bhāgavatam class, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. The difference between imitation and following is a matter of form versus substance. Like also in connection with that, it's like first deserve, then desire, but then when do you deserve to desire, like that. So how can we tell ourselves if we have enough substance, to be able to follow in the footsteps of the acharyas? Like you're saying, like
everything is revealed naturally and automatically from within if one is always very much absorbed in the mission of the spiritual master. That's my humble realization on the subject matter.
Just that the externals will manifest on their own.
Externals?
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, particularly in my mind, just thinking about like the renunciation of the six Goswamis. You said before that if you try to become a six Goswami, if you try to imitate the six Goswamis, you'll become a sick Goswami, just like that. And
Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe. By that, they are worth taking shelter of. That's automatically, it says in the same verse, the mood of the gopis. You want to understand what are the mood of the gopis? What is the mood of the servants of Srimati Radharani? And cultivate the intense compassion and desire to distribute Krishna consciousness qualitatively and quantitatively. And Prabhupada never gave that up to the last breath. Okay, so 9:10. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Śrimad Bhāgavatam ki jai. Shri Radha Govinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol.